so we have to resolve as Democrats, first and foremost, that we're going to stand for universal health care. And I want to thank the Speaker and the State President for being so strongly in favor of universal health care here in Massachusetts and around the country. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, I have a plan that I think will achieve universal health care, and it goes like this. If you have health insurance and you're happy with it, nothing changes. But if you're uninsured or you have insurance except it won't pay for what you need, then we're going to open up the Congressional Health Plan to every single American. Congress has a good plan for itself. The Congressional Plan provides over 250 choices. It is, on average, less costly than what you can get elsewhere. And we're going to say that every American is entitled to have the same choices. Because I want to ask you, how many of you know somebody who is uninsured? And how many of you know somebody who has insurance and you've paid your premiums, but when it comes time for the insurance company to pay your doctor, your hospital, they say no? See, we have two big problems. We talk a lot about the 47 million uninsured, but there are tens of millions of people who every single day call and ask, why aren't you paying this? Many people call my office and say, what have I done wrong? I bought insurance, I pay it every month. Now when I really need it, they say no. I cannot tell you the stories, the painful stories that I have heard over the years. You know, the man who was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and the next month, his health insurance was canceled. The woman whose 12-year-old son had a toothache, and she desperately tried to find some way to get him looked at. It was abscessed and spread to his brain, and he died. And before he died, the taxpayers spent $300,000 trying to keep him alive because we didn't have $80 to have his tooth taken care of. So it's not only morally wrong, it is economically stupid. We need to have everybody have access to quality, affordable health care. And if you can't afford the choices that are offered, I'm going to provide health care tax credits, and I'm going to limit the amount of money that anybody ever has to pay for their health insurance premium to a small percentage of your income. This will be affordable for everyone. And if you're a small business, we're not asking you to do anything, but if you want to go into the same congressional plan, you too will be eligible for the same health care tax credits and assistance to give you a chance to get a better health insurance policy. You know, I figure if it's good enough for members of Congress, it sure is good enough for Americans. And once we open this up and people start being insured, we'll be able to pay for prevention and mental health coverage, something that is woefully neglected in America today. Now, of the four major candidates still running on the Republican and Democratic side, I am the only candidate with a universal health care plan. And I believe it is so important that Democrats go into the general election against the Republicans standing firmly for universal health care. You know, it makes no sense to me for a Democrat to basically buy the Republican argument that we can't cover everybody, that we can't possibly achieve universal health care. Well, I'm telling you, I am not running for president to put Band-Aids on our problems. I'm running for president to solve our problems. And universal health care is the #1 problem I hear about. And you know, in order to build a strong and prosperous middle class, our education system has to remain the passport to opportunity for young people. I think we've got to start with more preschool programs, including universal pre-kindergarten, so that 4-year-olds have a chance to get started and do well in school. We do have to end the unfunded mandate known as No Child Left Behind. It is not working for our children, our teachers. And see, I don't think that children should be considered little test takers and teachers as big test givers. I think we ought to be looking for ways to help each child live up to his or her God-given potential. And we need to redesign our public education system to be part of our future, not our past. Too many times our public schools look the same way they've looked for 50 years. We need more technology. We need more individualized instruction. We need to let students study in areas that will light up their imagination and give them a lot of reward for what they are learning and doing. And I think we've got to make college affordable for everybody wanting to go and willing to work hard for it. Everywhere I go across the country, I meet families that are sacrificing in order to send their children to school. I have met people who've had to sell their homes. I've met a lot who have refinanced them and taken out second mortgages. I was with a couple in Los Angeles the other day, and they took out a second mortgage on their home. They're 10 years from retirement. They have 2 daughters. They're sent their older to college. She just graduated. And now they've got a younger daughter, and they're saying to me, I don't know how we're going to pay this back. And then what are we going to do for our other daughter? I think it is wrong that in America, people are expected to refinance or sell their homes to send their children to college. And when I'm president, that will stop. Here's what I want to do. I think families should get $3,500 tax credits for each child for each year so you can use your own money more efficiently. Pell Grants should be indexed to the cost of higher education so that they go up as the costs go up and they're available year-round. I want to get the student loan industry out of the business of predatory lending to young people and their families. Now, every time I'm on a college campus, I ask what the highest rate of interest that anybody's paying. And before anybody shouts it out, yesterday I got a really big one. In Minnesota, a young student called out and said she was paying 27% interest. Can anybody top that? Thank goodness. A lot of people are putting their education on their credit cards. And that means the interest rate can be above 30%. The student loan industry is charging outrageous rates of interest. You know, when I went to law school, my family couldn't help me. So I kept working as I had all through college, and I got a tiny scholarship. But then I borrowed money. But I could borrow money from the federal government through a program called the National Defense Education Act. And I see a few heads nodding from people who borrowed money. I borrowed money at 2% interest. I could pay it back contingent upon my income, so that when I graduated, I didn't have to take a job I didn't want. I didn't want to work in a big law firm. I wanted to work for the Children's Defense Fund, representing abused and neglected kids and kids in foster care, kids who needed help. So, you know, I paid my loan back. I didn't feel like so many young people feel today, that they have to work to pay their student loans back. So here's what I offer. 2 years of national service before you go to school, earning up to $10,000 a year that will go directly to help you pay for college. If you graduate with debt and you're willing to do a public service job for a number of years, like nursing or teaching or law enforcement, we will forgive your debt and you will be free of debt. Because I see each and every one of you as an investment. You're not only investing in your own future and your own livelihoods, you're investing in America. And it's time we had a president again who looked at young people, looked at the next generation and said, this is an investment worth making. Why should we make money for the big banks and the student loan industry? Let's put our money into our students and give them the chance to have the futures that they are working for. Now, in order to do what we have to do as a country, we have to reform our government. We have to end the no-bid contracts and the cronyism, the corruption and the incompetence. We have seen it from the Gulf Coast to Iraq. We have seen time and time again the insensitivity and the indifference of the Bush administration. We've got to get back to believing we're all in this together. Contrary to President Bush, this is not the government of the few and by the few and for the few. This government belongs to all of us. It needs to be more transparent. It needs to be more accountable. We need to have public financing for campaigns. And how about this for an old-fashioned idea? How about appointing qualified people for the jobs we asked them to hold in the government again?